Stereotypical yogi is always wearing some sort of matching set of athletic wear and drinking green juice and does a lot of deep breathing, generally pretty level-headed and calm, but has some wild sides like, what the fuck is up with all those headstands? Top knot, green tea, Cali accent. Someone who really has their life together. My father. Lululemon everything. Yoga for the people or whatever. Man buns, people who will show me up in every aspect of my life, but it's okay because they do it from a centered place. Some of them are pretty cool, and others really try to get you on that yoga grind like untamed vegans rallying for the cause. It's a wild world, but yogis are pretty okay. Leggings, toned, zen, meditates, but probably doesn't actually. The answers are all in the earth's wind. Leggings, sports bra, holding yoga mat, skinny, muscular, toned, etc. My mean, in parentheses, first thought would be a Lululemon wearing basic bitch who thinks she understands the meaning of the universe and likes to tell everyone but is probably out of touch with her own reality. However, I know that it can actually be deeply relaxing and is good for strengthening and toning muscles and clearing the mind space. Really, the quote-unquote stereotypical yogi should probably be some sort of spiritual monk. Someone who only wears athleisure clothes, eats very green, vegan, keto, super-duper health nut, meditates a lot, speaks very softly, always very calm. Honestly, I think about someone who wears headbands and a lot of Lululemon. I also assume a yogi is very in touch with themselves emotionally, therefore maintaining a calm outward demeanor. Dreads, super slow, unmaterialistic, no quote-unquote real career. Beard, sweatpants, Buddhist or fake Buddhist, thinks yoga can save the world. Someone who has a calm smile, soothing voice, slender body. Loose, earthy clothing, soft, hot, breathy voice, extremely nice. White woman in 30s, affluent, trendy. Quote-unquote stereotypical yogi, HQ, Insta-worthy wellness culture content. A quote-unquote yogi is someone who has detached from that just a bit. White, blonde, thin, femme, cisgendered, but I do know there are spaces for others to practice yoga. Someone who carries around a yoga mat, wears yoga pants, is in great shape, enjoys meditation, and wears a thick headband. Super thin, strong, relaxed female. Lululemon, white, female, went to India once and now only plays generic-sounding chant music in their classes, has a statue of Ganesh, or whatever the patron god of yoga is, ... and an altar. Always wearing yoga pants and posting about yoga only on social media. Someone from the Beatles movie Help. One of two things: a more traditional yogi with flowy linen clothes, bead necklace, in a jungle meditating for hours, fasting, or eating simplistic food. Or a white girl in matching leggings and bra, drinking green juice, posting on Instagram about love and light in her butt. Hippie/white woman/brown person. Easygoing woman with long hair and colorful yoga pants. Monk, but he's actually a hipster who lives on the Upper East Side in Satan. He's culturally a person of color. What? Kombucha and spinach. I have engaged with many diverse personalities who enjoy yoga, which has reshaped who I conceive of as a yogi. I find those who make fun of or mock the practice very disrespectful because yoga is so closely tied to religion and spiritualism. A white person who has adopted an Indian name and leads a cult. A lot of cults happened like this in the early 70s. Also, a white woman who's extremely fit, who practices a shallow, quote-unquote digestible form of mindfulness. You, tee-hee, hi. Makes me think of an Instagram post. $200 leggings and a white girl on a beach. Lululemon for days. Zen and faded. Starbucks, yoga mat on their back, racer back tank tops with capri leggings. Someone who likes to talk about yoga. Frizzy brown hair, smells like dirt, carries a yoga mat everywhere, wears natural deodorant, probably vegan, flexible, smoothing voice. Zen. vegan. Sun salutations on Instagram, Lululemon, low-kai bracelets. They might just be extremely chilled out and very quote-unquote spiritual. Birkenstocks, quote-unquote free spirit, smokes weed, or basic white girl with starbs and mandala yoga mat. Downward dog. A white lady who's like 30 who dresses in Lululemon, who's blonde and has the voice of an angel singing me a lullaby. Really actually down to earth and kind, but I have a thing against yoga, so I tend to judge them too quickly. Vegan, wears baggy and loose clothes, natural hair, peaceful and calm person. Skinny, in shape, Lululemon pants. People of all shapes and sizes go to yoga for different reasons, though, so I know anybody could really be a secret yogi. Earth tone clothes that are baggy with gathering at the ankles and wrists. Eating 0 processed foods, knowing 7 nearby farmer markets, and bendy. Either a thin Indian man who has literally devoted his life to the teachings of mindfulness and yoga, or a millennial, fit, attractive woman who runs the expensive yoga classes in Flatiron. Your friend really nice, rich, stay-at-home mom that always looks flawless, teaches yoga classes at the local studio/gym, has Buddhas and candles around the house, and a yoga setup next to their indoor pool. I venture to say there is no quote-unquote stereotypical yogi. A yogi can be any age, any level of fitness, to begin, that is. Once you have achieved your yogi self, calm and focus are part of your being. The human that is all relaxed and peaceful and always does yoga poses for pictures of nature. An old Indian man with a turban. Dreads, cloth clothes, no brands, vegan, soft voice, probably smokes weed a lot. Skinny, annoying, blonde sorority type girl, except mid-30s, so more soccer mom than sorority girl, but she is a former sorority girl. Is annoying and naive, either that or super hippie dippy environmental activist vegan who loves kale juice and decorates her apartment with plants and carries around her own wooden utensils and metal straw. Hippie. Someone who thinks they can heal themselves from cancer, also is smug. Strong, powerful, kind woman, a great teacher, someone who exudes calm if she's not feeling it, like you. Aww. Upper middle class white woman. Well, unfortunately, I think of all the white people who have claimed yoga for themselves without much or any knowledge about how old the practice is, and people who are using it for quote-unquote fitness when it's really not about that. This isn't to say I don't like yoga or think it's good, but the culture that's developed around it in the US has its flaws. It's me, LOL. White female who is skinny and fit. I think of people who understand very little about non-Western culture, but feel like they can take what they want from it with no repercussions. Someone who doesn't stop talking about yoga and is very at peace, although they probably aren't as at peace as they out themselves to be. Also is probably quasi-vegetarian, reads BuzzFeed, and does yoga at least in part for the Instagram likes. Quote-unquote stereotypical immediately makes me think of the bastardized, appropriated, Lululemon-id, privileged, white, Western, trendy version of yogi that I see in America. Can't speak for anywhere else. And the way it's almost entirely seen as a way for already thin white women to stay toned, I do not think yogis who practice in accordance to original teachings are like this, even if they are white, thin, and wear Lulus. I just don't believe that a majority of people who tout themselves as yogis are in it for the mental or spiritual practice, which I realize is a bias, but that's been my experience in my own practice.
Is that the one I have?
Yeah. Do you mind if I get it too? It's really
Go
cute.
for it.
Do you see your nipples through it?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. I'm holding this handstand for a really long time.